Okay, let's really dig into something intriguing today. Our source material, it throws down this pretty audacious challenge, doesn't it?
It really does. This idea that someone, facing financial hardship could actually become wealthy.
In just 6 months.
Yeah, by doing just one specific thing.
Now, if you're anything like me, your eyebrows probably just shot up hearing that. It sounds, well, almost too simple.
Right. A bit like a magic bullet. But that's exactly why we're looking into it.
Exactly. We've taken a close look at this episode of the Money Mindset Podcast 4 with Liam.
Hmm.
And our goal here in this deep dive is really to get past that headline. Understand the logic.
Like, what is this one thing? What are the actual steps?
Yeah, the practical actions. And, could this genuinely be a path for you? Not just to learn a bit more about money, but to see real change.
Without feeling totally overwhelmed by information, which is easy to do.
Definitely.
And what I found compelling right away is how the podcast sets the scene. It starts by acknowledging that feeling.
Oh, yeah, the paycheck to paycheck grind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where building real security feels like miles off. And then it brings in this 6-month wealth shift idea.
Suggesting focused effort can make a big difference quite fast.
But it smartly pivots. It says the core issue isn't just the number in your bank account right now.
It's more about the mindset and the actions.
Yeah, the things that might be keeping you sort of stuck in that cycle.
Right, okay. So it's not about some lottery win or finding a hidden stock tip.
Not at all. The podcast makes a really strong case that the fundamental difference often boils down to something you can actively control.
And here it is, right? The big reveal.
This is the linchpin they propose for this whole 6-month thing. Build a valuable skill.
And then
Figure out how to actually sell it effectively.
Which, when you think about it, makes a lot of sense.
It does. The podcast points out wealthy people either have skills people really want,
or they're good at using other people's skills.
Precisely. So the argument is, if you're struggling financially, there's likely a mismatch. Your current skills versus what the market pays for.
And what I liked is that they specifically steer clear of, the quick fix stuff.
Oh yeah, no crypto moonshots or anything like that.
Or just working yourself into the ground 100 hours a week.
No, keeps the focus squarely on developing something real, something in demand, tangible.
Okay, so the big question then is how? How do you actually do that in 6 months?
Well, the podcast breaks it down. A pretty detailed month-by-month blueprint.
Let's start with month 1 then. What's the focus?
Month 1 is pick your skill.
Just like that, pick a skill.
Well, they emphasize not getting stuck trying to find the perfect skill.
Pick analysis.
Paralysis, right.
Right. Focus on something with clear demand now, looking ahead to 2025.
Yeah, and they give examples, which is helpful. Things like copywriting,
social media management, video editing,
graphic design, digital marketing, coding, VA work.
Even sales or appointment setting. Practical stuff.
Very practical digital age skills. And the advice on how to choose is good too.
What do they suggest there?
Think about what people already ask you for help with, even informally.
Okay. What else?
What can you learn relatively quickly? What seems interesting and potentially profitable? That intersection.
Makes sense. And they mentioned learning resources.
Yeah, and importantly, free ones, like Coursera, YouTube, Skillshare.
So the money barrier to just learning isn't really there.
Exactly. Accessibility is key at this stage. Knowledge is out there.
Okay, so you've picked a skill.
Yeah.
Months 2 and 3.
That's where the real work starts. Master and practice.
Sounds intense.
It is. They stress this isn't casual. They recommend dedicating like 2 to 4 hours every day.
Wow, okay. Focus, learning, and practice.
And crucially, building a portfolio. You need to show what you can do.
Even if you have no clients yet.
Yeah, make sample projects, create things just to demonstrate the skill.
Okay, build that evidence.
And then there's a clever tactic. Offer your work for free.
Free? Why?
To just 3 to 5 real people or businesses in exchange for testimonials.
Ah, smart. Get that initial credibility.
Exactly. Real experience, build confidence, get that social proof, overcome the no experience hurdle.
Okay, that makes sense. So skills are developing. You've got some positive feedback. Month 4.
Month 4 is start charging low and deliver high.
Okay, finally getting paid.
Yep. Start taking small paid jobs, platforms like Fiverr, Upwork, maybe local Facebook groups.
But charge low. Why not charge what you're worth?
It seems counterintuitive, right?
Yeah.
But the reasoning is strategic. It's about getting positive reviews and referrals fast, building momentum.
So undercharge a bit, but over-deliver on the quality.
Precisely. Exceed expectations. It builds reputation rapidly. Think of it like a short-term investment in getting those 5-star reviews.
Okay, I see the logic. Get the ball rolling, build that rep, then what? Months 5 and 6?
Now it's time to scale up, raise your rates, go direct.
So moving beyond just the freelance platforms.
Yeah, they suggest creating a simple online presence, a basic website, or even just a solid LinkedIn profile.
Showcase your skills, your portfolio, those testimonials.
Exactly. And then start proactively reaching out to businesses directly. The ones that could actually use your specific service. Offer it to them.
So taking control of client acquisition.
Right. You're moving from waiting for jobs to actively seeking clients who are a good fit.
And this is where the income potential really starts to climb.
That's the idea. With the portfolio, the testimonials, the direct outreach. That's when hitting that $2,000 to $5,000 a month range becomes feasible within the 6 months.
That's a significant shift for someone starting from scratch.
It really is. But it relies on everything building up from month 1.
Now, we should be realistic here. The podcast does acknowledge this, right? That not everyone will hit that mark.
Oh, absolutely. It addresses that directly. It's important to be candid about it.
What are the reasons they give for potential, let's say, setbacks?
Mostly comes down to commitment, really. Lack of consistent effort.
Getting distracted.
Yeah, distraction is huge. Or wanting that instant gratification, rather than sticking with the skill-building process.
Which takes time and effort.
It does. But the podcast also offers a bit of encouragement there.
How so?
By suggesting that, hey, if you're listening to this, if you're engaging with this deep dive, you're already showing a certain level of commitment.
A growth mindset, maybe.
Exactly. Which increases your odds if you decide to act on it.
And they shared some real stories too, didn't they? To make it more tangible.
They did, which really helps. First, Angela. Single mom in Detroit, working night shifts.
Tough situation. What did she do?
Started learning graphic design in her spare time. Did the free work thing initially.
Built the portfolio, got testimonials.
Yep. And within 6 months, she had clients paying her around $1,000 a month for branding stuff.
Wow. That's life-changing money.
Absolutely. And it shows it's possible even with major time constraints. Just steady effort.
Who is the other example?
Carlos. College dropout in Houston.
Okay, good skill.
Appointment setting. He learned how to do outreach, set appointments for businesses.
Yeah.
Landed a remote gig with a digital marketing agency. Within the same 6 months, he was making $4,000 a month.
$4,000 from appointment setting.
Yep, and working remotely. Freedom.
That really highlights how even a niche skill can pay off if there's demand.
Totally. And the point they make is these aren't like miracle cases. They're normal people who took focused action.
Right. Okay, so let's try to wrap this up. As we finish this deep dive, the core message seems pretty clear.
Yeah, that one thing. It's building a valuable in-demand skill.
And then actively, strategically selling it.
That's the formula they present.
And what makes it seem possible now, maybe more than before?
Is that combination of free tools to learn?
Right, like YouTube, Coursera.
And the high market demand for these digital skills. The barriers are lower.
So the podcast basically puts it back on the listener, doesn't it?
Pretty much. The resources are there, the demand is there. The only thing left
is your decision, whether to start.
Which brings us to a really practical point for you listening right now, thinking about this blueprint.
Which skill feels like maybe your starting point?
Yeah, what resonates with you? What aligns with those in-demand areas we talked about?
Just identifying that first step can be the hardest part sometimes.
It often is.
So the final thought to leave you with is, could these next 6 months actually be a turning point? For your financial knowledge, your potential.
And based on everything we've discussed, what's one small, concrete action you could take, maybe even today?
Just to explore one of those skills a little further, see if it clicks.
Exactly. What feels like the most natural first move for you?
Definitely something compelling to think about.